Galimera, Galispera, Galinichta, no matter where in this wonderful and sometimes weird world you might be. Thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. We are back, we are live, and we have some epic football brains joining us today. If you think Arsenal fans, we've got it bad, holy cow, spare a thought for a toffee. Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad. Has been a long week without you folks, and thanks so much, Squaddies, for joining us. And as our Chief Like Officer Tammy Steele says, welcome back to our great channel. I love how they say our as well. Joining me once again, my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Hi, Squaddies. Good to see you. And hopefully this should be a very, very epic podcast. Get strapped in, get ready, and a long study's going to be needed. At ease.
At ease, Super Kev. Good to see you back. We also have the founders, the hosts, broadcasters extraordinaire for the Toffee Nation from Toffee TV. We have Baz and Ped joining Squad Central. Welcome, lads.
There you go.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. And Mr. Communications extraordinaire, former director of communications for the Everton Football Club, has some very fantastic anecdotes about this fine Kevin Campbell, and also doing amazing regional work as an editor for Sky Sports. Mr. Alan Myers, a very good friend of the show, back again. Welcome, Big Al.
Big Al!
Yeah.
After that introduction before, I should say Adere, maybe. You'd understand that. Just one for Sophie there, I think.
Throwing in a little bit of the Greek there. I love it. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Squaddies, good evening. All the usual suspects in the house. We're just going to get on with... we're not going to talk about Jorginho. All right, we'll save that to the very end. We'll spare these guys, you guys complaining about the transfer window. Let me start with you, Baz, first, and then I just want to switch it around to Al and then Ped, because not so long ago, what is it now, 2.5 years ago, you were looking for a new manager. I want to take this back a little bit. We were looking for a new manager. Most Arsenal fans wanted Carlo Ancelotti, and I don't know if Everton fans, I think at the time when we had spoken, Mikel Arteta was someone that was exciting fans in terms of the potential and what he could do. Now we're fast forwarding to this point. Any regrets, Baz? Do you think the club should... Let's talk about it like organically in a sense that, did you get the wrong man? We got the right man, obviously. And were the problems for you guys stemming from there? And if you'd have gotten Mikel, do you think that maybe Everton would be in a different place right now?
Oh, I mean, it's a real tough one, because obviously you're talking about Carlo Ancelotti, who is one of the best managers probably in history, isn't he? Is certainly his statistics will tell you that. He won the Champions League again last season. But if you're talking about fit for football clubs, Ancelotti at Arsenal probably made sense at that time. Arsenal, London, big club, all of that stuff. And maybe Mikel Arteta at Everton, because he was starting out. But I think at the time, I think if you'd have asked most Evertonians, they would have gone with Ancelotti over Arteta, I think, anyway, just because of the historical nature of it. Obviously, Arteta has proven to be his own man. He's proven to be someone who doesn't... He knows what he wants to do, and he hasn't been scared to upset a few people. I'm talking about Aubameyang and things like that. He's made some big changes. But I don't think I've seen people saying, oh, if Arteta had come here, this would have been us now, chasing Lee and all that. Everton haven't got the money. No disrespect to Arsenal, but they spent a lot of money for him as well. And we're starting from a higher base. So, I don't see it like that. So I think it's difficult to turn around. It's easy now to say, oh, I wish we'd have got Arteta. He'd have been our manager and we'd have been healthier and all that. But I think at the time, Ancelotti was probably the person most people would have wanted. Not necessarily who I think Everton needed at the time, because I do think me and Ped were talking at the time, and we were leaning towards a David Moyes or something at that time, because Everton needed sorting out a little bit when Marco Silva was sacked. And look at him, he's doing well, so maybe you should have just kept him.
Oh man, Al, you've been, so close to the club, like the lads, worked on the inside as well. Obviously worked with Mikel. What are your thoughts on this question that doesn't seem to go away? And obviously because of Everton's kind of situation right now and where Arsenal are at.
Well, for me, I don't think if we'd have got Mikel when we got Carlo, I'm not sure, because you had, and I remember coming on this or similar podcast, with Princess Guna a long time ago, and I remember we had a big discussion about Mikel Arteta, and it wasn't going very well at the time. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think he'd have got through that at Everton as he did at Arsenal. I think there were times at Arsenal where people really doubted it, and there was a lot of pressure on him. That pressure would have been too great because of his perceived lack of experience at the time. It would have been too great, I think, for Everton, and we probably would be on our 8th manager now rather than our 7th. Actually, no, because Carlo, we lost him anyway, didn't we? So, but I mean, I agree with Baz. I didn't think Carlo Ancelotti was the right fit for Everton at the time. Why? Because it's exactly what happened in the end. That as soon as a bigger club came in for him, he would have gone, and that's how it worked out. So, it's all. What do they say? Sliding doors. It's all ifs, buts, and maybes. We don't know. We don't know what the sort of mechanism. Was within both clubs. I think Baz is completely right. I think what Mikel Arteta has shown is the side of him which is the steel, and that's what was needed. Everyone could see that at Arsenal. I think there's an argument right now at Everton, although not in the same way. You had really, really strong characters in players who were pretty much running the club. Let's be honest. Yeah. And I think what he's done, what his real achievement has been, is to deal with those really big issues and clean the club out. And that's what he's done. And now he's reaping the benefits.
Ped, where do you stand on this one? And, in particular, with regards to ownership, maybe we'll tag that one on here for you, because we too have gone through the protests. Well, big time protests, Kroenke out. I actually think, and said this on the show with Kevin, we did a show where we kind of backed the Kroenkes lately, and I would say that right now the Kroenkes, might change for some Arsenal fans by the end of this window, but I think they're actually one of the best owners in the Premier League right now, considering how they've backed Mikel to the hilt and supported him. How many managers have you been through? Is it an institutionalized problem beyond repair?
I don't know about the Kroenkes, but I think we've got the Crankies running our club.
Nice.
You set
they
that
did
up.
A better job. They did
it was an open goal. No, it is. It's like I mean, you can look at it in loads of different ways, but the fact that we chose Ancelotti without really looking at Mikel Arteta shows exactly sort of where we are as a football club. We'd come off the back of a young, up-and-coming manager in Silva who couldn't quite get over what he wanted at the football club. He was a very tame manager. He was really poor in press conferences and really just couldn't get over what he wanted to say. I believe in press conferences he did with the written media and with obviously Portuguese journalists. His whole personality came out. But when you put him in front of the TV cameras, he just wilted, and it felt like that's what he was at Everton. Like he was stunted in what he wanted to do. And I think when he brought in Lewis Boamorte, that made it even worse because he's never liked by Everton. I don't think he was that voice in his ear that he needed, that he'd previously had. And from going from him to literally one of the greatest managers in the world, I think it sent the wrong message to everybody, I think. And Baz is right, you know, in terms of maybe it needed a David Moyes. Maybe the people at the club should have looked at the whole thing and said, right, we're going down the wrong avenue here. We have to pull it back a little bit. And with Carlo Ancelotti, you were always going to go down an avenue that meant that you were going to go looking for players like James Rodriguez and those types of players. You know, and to offer someone like James Rodriguez £200,000 a week, which is simply ridiculous, they're Champions League wages, and to offer him those kind of wages, it tells you everything you need to know about the people who run this club. They've got all the information in front of you. They know where we are in terms of FFP, but they kept on pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. We needed somebody like Moyes, maybe an Arteta, but like Al said, I think he would have been chewed up and spat out easily by Everton Football Club. And we needed to be a little bit more pragmatic. We needed to get hold of the finances. We need to go and get those hidden gems that David Moyes had always got. The recruitment needed to be, as I said, sorted out completely. And I think we'd be here now in a lot better position if that had happened with, okay, listen, it mightn't have been an amazing last couple of years in terms of where we'd finished. But I tell you what, we would have finished higher up the league. We wouldn't be looking over our shoulder. I don't think we'd have FFP problems. And I think we'd all be a little bit more content with the situation. Would we still be moaning? Yes, of course we would. But football fans, we'll always moan. We always want more. The expectations are always high. But I think that just set the wrong tone. And I think when we brought Carlo in, we were a little bit like, well, let's wait and see. He never felt like an Everton manager, but he was a nice guy. He bought into it. He got us out of trouble. And then he set those expectations himself quite high. And we bought into it, because what else can you do when your football club is leading you? They're holding your hand and they're taking you down the path and they're saying everything's fine. And you have to just trust them. And what's come out the other end is we should never have trusted them, because the difference between your owners and our owners are your owners did it because they were looking at the bigger picture and saying, we'll back this guy when the time is right or when the foundations are in place. We haven't got any foundations. We're not even on sand anymore. This is a football club ready to fall into the abyss. And, you know, that's why we've brought Sean Dyche in to try and stop that from happening. But if that happens, if Everton do get relegated, you know, with everything that's weighted against it, you know, with the stadium and players' contracts, you know, we're getting linked with £40 million bids for players, whether it's true or not. Why on earth are Everton Football Club? Why on earth would anyone even think in that direction of buying £40 million footballers when you're in the relegation zone? That's crazy. But that's the way this football club operates. It operates in the realms of craziness. And if someone doesn't get hold of it very, very soon, and I hope that's Sean Dyche, then, you know, we are just going to continue to circle the drain. And so about protest, you know, a lot of people are saying, oh, don't protest. You know, you've got a new manager and you have to be positive. You have to do what we did last season. Why? So the same happens in 12 months' time where we sack another manager. We are going into transfer deadline tomorrow and we have not bought a player. And this is a team and a squad that is, it's dying. It's absolutely dying on the vine. So I made up we've got a new manager because Frank Lampard, bless him, was a terrible manager. Don't let anyone else tell you anything different. He was a terrible manager. These two will try to. I know Basil. He was a terrible manager. He's put us in this position but it was the football club that put him in that position.
Yeah. Lampard and Gerrard, two managers that got protected for so long. Kev, the reason why I wanted the guys on tonight, of course, we play Everton this weekend. And, you know, you played for the club in much more fun times. I think it was
not when he
said
started.
to me today. No. Well, he helped save it, didn't he?
Saved
it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know how much you love Everton and I know how much Everton love you as well. And Lone Star, one of our regular listeners, just put in the chat that maybe Everton are in a similar position to Arsenal. Ped doesn't think so in terms of, you know, that backbone and foundation. What's your take on your former strike partner? You know, Mikel came back and, you know, he proved that he could manage. Why hasn't Duncan Ferguson been given a chance this whole time? I'm asking this naively because I just don't know.
He wasn't at the club, so he left
previously.
The club in the summer. He left it. But he's had 2 goals at it for whatever reason. Yes, he's been caretaker manager twice. Dave Unsworth has done it as well. but never been given the reins because they don't have the experience. That's the bottom line. The fact of the matter is, the lads have actually said it quite well. That what's happening upstairs, nobody could legislate for. I remember Carlo Ancelotti being manager and Everton being top of the league. So you can't say Carlo Ancelotti didn't make a difference. He did make a difference. Everton didn't struggle. They done okay with Carlo at the helm. But what was going on in the boardroom, I have no idea. Marcel Brands was brought into the football club, supposed to be able to pick great young talent. He left. Is there any foundation in place? So the board and the owner has to take some accountability for that. I think the difference is at Arsenal, people didn't realize how good the people actually were in the position until the dressing room got cleaned up. As soon as the dressing room got cleaned up, it takes off. At Everton, it's a shambles. And I think Frank Lampard done as well as he could, considering what he inherited. He kept the club up when he kept the hold on, Big Al. He kept the club up, especially when people said there is no way he can do it because he lacks experience. Yeah, it did go to the wire, but that's just the way Everton do things. You lose Richarlison, who was the main man. Forget Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Richarlison was the main man. He's the one who put Everton on his shoulders. But here's the big difference. You lose him and you don't replace the firepower at the top end of the pitch. That's what Everton's struggling with. They're not struggling defensively. They're not struggling midfield. It's to be able to put teams away. Now, if you can't put teams away, you are going to get caught in this division. And that's what Everton's problems are. And it will catch up with you in the end. And that's what happened. So I think Sean Dyche coming in should make a difference because I truly believe he'll play two up top, which makes a hell of a difference.
Al, I know you wanted to jump in real quick. And
yeah, I just wanted to say, Kev, we've had 7 managers in 7 years. We've had every different type of manager that you could imagine. Right across the board. We've had the young up and coming managers. We've had the experienced Champions League winners. We've had everything. You have to now look elsewhere to where the problem might be, because it clearly isn't the managers, and doesn't matter how many managers. Miguel,
that's why I said the board.
Exactly, but if you have to look at elsewhere, because you can bring any manager you want in, but if the culture's not right, if the system isn't right, it can't work. And what you're seeing now at Arsenal is unity. And I'll tell you something. I've been in and around football clubs, 2 in particular, right inside the 2 football clubs I've worked with, and unity is everything. It may not bring you a trophy, but what it will guarantee you, if you haven't got it, is failure. And that's we've seen it. Kevin saw it when he first came into the dressing room. There wasn't a unity there. Kevin, and people don't give him the credit for this. They clearly give him the credit for scoring goals, which was great. But what he did was unite a dressing room. And I saw it. I saw it firsthand. He united the club. He united the football side of it. Clearly he couldn't do the rest of the club, but he united the football side of the club at that time. And unity is so huge in football. And that's what Arsenal are reaping the benefits of now.
Kev, were you hiding an ear? Did you just get your ear pierced here? Is that what you were doing there?
Earrings
No.
there?
No.
What happened?
I'd give him a love bite.
Yeah, Big Al bit it.
All right, so we're playing you this weekend, and a lot of questions, Baz, coming from our listeners. They're fascinated by Steve Round, and obviously we're seeing AirPod Albert and Steve Round do the business with Mikel. Justin says, can we take a minute to mutually do a love-in on Steve Round, assistant at Everton for donkeys, and now Arteta values him as part of the coaching setup? Are they overblowing the Steve Round thing here, or can you just enlighten us a little bit as Evertonians?
I have
Well,
no idea what Steve Round did at Everton, Baz.
Yeah.
I don't know you, but I
I'll be-
honestly don't know. He was always on the phone to somebody.
He was,
But
sure,
I
because
don't
he
know who
is.
that person was. Yeah, it's a strange one. I have no idea what Steve Round did at Everton, genuinely. So
that's
I don't know if
epic.
Baz has got, and I don't know if Alan knows, but he didn't come
well,
across as like
He come in with
Yeah.
in with a big reputation, but I mean, people I spoke to was he wasn't great. But clearly, if Arteta knows what he wants and he knows the type of people, it's like a jigsaw. If you put the right people, and Steve Brown might be really good at this one thing that Mikel needs, and it just fits together. And listen, he must be amazing because Arsenal are amazing at the moment. So fair play to him. Alan, you might know more.
Well, I just know that just briefly. I've spoken to a few people about him. He is very, very well respected as a coach, but he's also well respected as a number two, which is different, from being a coach. Someone who a manager can trust and someone who can be a calming influence on the manager. And I think that's what he is. I've spoke to many people who've worked with him, and they all say the same because. Baz and Ped have sort of hit on it, really. People didn't really get him, I don't think, when he was at Everton. But I must admit, speaking to people who know him, they can't speak highly of him.
I think Moyes met him at a training session also, doing his badges or something.
That's right.
Yeah,
and basically just came home with him.
I'll just put him in his bag.
He just went, "Come on, lad, I've got, you'll do for me, son."
He's not a dog.
And he was just the guy who always had the earpiece in, and he was talking, but no one really sort of not pay him attention. That's disrespectful, but no one really bothered because it was all at the time Everton were doing well, and David Moyes had he was.
Alan Irvine got more credit, didn't he? Really?
Well, Alan Irvine was before him, wasn't he?
Yeah,
when he left. And I think what Moyes was trying to do was do what Sir Alex was doing at Manchester United, was trying to mix it up and bring fresh voices to training, and maybe that's what attracted Sir Alex to try and take David Moyes to Manchester United, was that he just brought him in. He was a fresh voice, and obviously whatever he said stuck with Mikel Arteta. And fair play, and that's what I was saying before, about having someone who's been there and done it when we had Marco Silva, is that he was a very inexperienced manager and went and got Luis Bolamorte, who was a very inexperienced coach. And the next minute, you've got two very inexperienced people running your football club. And we needed someone maybe like Steve Round, oddly enough, at the time, to come in and go, be the little voice in his ear, saying, no, just calm down, or do this or do that. And maybe that's what Steve Round is with all that experience. So fair play for Mikel Arteta for recognising that and understanding that he hasn't got all the answers, and maybe somebody else has who's got a little bit more experience. Because I think at Man City, Pep Guardiola has a water polo guy who basically just is this little, someone who's got no one to do with football, but it's the guy who just says, listen, no, let's do it this way because that's tried and tested or whatever. So listen, it's working. Why argue with it? It's working.
Whatever he's
Sophie,
doing.
Yes,
Sophie,
yes, Al.
What we need to know is from Kevin Campbell is what one of our assistant managers is like Steve Stone, because I do believe he knows him.
I know Stodie well. I know Ian Wone well, but I know both of these guys very well. Very good people, experienced now. They've worked together for quite a while. Stoney's done the rounds. He's earned his stripes. And one thing he is and was, he's a hard-working player, a grafter. And you tell me one Evertonian who don't want a team who's going to go out there and leave every blade of run every blade of grass and every bit of sweat, leave every bit of sweat on the pitch. I think that's really important moving forward. Because I think sometimes you could get bogged down with all this fancy football, passing it out from the back. Rubbish. At Everton, reflect the fans, be tough to beat, get the ball forward and make it a war. As soon as you do that, it brings the 12th man into it. And the 12th man, everybody says it, Everton's one of the hardest places to go. It hasn't been that in the first half of the season. There's more than enough points to play for in the second half. So I think Sean Dyche and his team are going to definitely push.
Always a fun day out going to Goodison Park. Okay, so some people are asking you if you guys could, at least try and put a bid in for Jorginho, so we don't end up with him tomorrow. But we'll get to that eventually.
That'll be a no.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, here's my biggest fear about this weekend. So last year we came up to Goodison Park and you know, we were starting to make a little bit of progress, but that's when the problems with Aubameyang were really kicking in. It was the nail in his Arsenal coffin after that match. He never played for the football club ever again. Mikel making big moves, big ballsy moves to cut him. And you beat us. And that really stung. New manager bounce is my biggest concern. Super Kev and you Toffees in the house. I'll start with Kev on this one. Kev, do I need to calm my jets? Do I have every right to fear the new manager bounce and the crowd getting behind Sean Dyche, who, by the way, we never really liked much when he was at Burnley, did we? Let's be honest.
Well, it is definitely something that could get going. Maybe it's a little bit too early. You could say that. But one thing I will tell you, and we've discussed it on here previously, Arsenal never have an easy game at Goodison Park. I can tell you that. There is two big clubs, one south and one north, and there's always that battle north-south divide. Evertonians are not going to roll over. I've been in a few of them where Arsenal have come up and we've been down to the bare bones and we've produced a physical but good performance and ended up beating Arsenal. Richarlison, if you remember rightly, I think he had 3 goals disallowed last season.
No.
You know, it was an incredible game, real tough game, but an incredible game. Arsenal took the lead and Everton pegged them back, and then obviously Demarai Gray won it with an absolute banger late on. But we're supposed to be worried about Everton, although the form going into it ain't great. New manager.
It's an understatement. That's an understatement.
Just starting to work with the team right now. I'm actually on about Arsenal, lads. I'm not on about you.
Yeah.
You know, we just got beat by Man City, so I can't be saying too much about. We all know what's happening with Everton, but Arsenal got to get back on the horse. Now, if that comes up to the demise,
what? We beat Man United. We lost to City in the FA Cup. We
but
made
that's
6
what I'm saying.
changes.
The form with our last game is a
One
loss.
game.
Oh,
Form.
standards. Remember them bastards?
That is standards, isn't it?
Remember that?
Hang on. We've lost 8 in 10.
Baz,
We've won
thank you
1 in
very much.
14.
If you want to win the title, you've got to. That's the way you've got to be, haven't you? You've got to be. These are the standards. Got to get back on the horse. You've got to get back winning. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Look, we don't know what type of Everton's going to turn up. The key is for Arsenal, the Arsenal that is top of the league, clear at the top, has to turn up because Everton are going to play Arsenal tough.
Yeah.
As what I mean, we talk about it all the time. It's a cliche for a reason. The new manager bounce. What should we be afraid of this weekend? I know it's tough, and I know you guys are playing badly, but football is weird. I mean, you got a point off Man City, which is incredible when you think about it, considering the turmoil. What should we be concerned about this weekend?
Pies.
Yeah.
The pies.
I think. Look, if both teams play to their maximum, Arsenal will win because they've got better footballers. Right? Got better players. The caveat to that is, I think it's five years since Arsenal beat Everton at Goodison. And then when you look at it over the last 10 years, Everton's record is quite good against Arsenal. And certainly, the last few years, it's been decent. Everton have had good results. I think obviously a new manager always brings the, a little bit of bounce, like you said. I think what Sean Dyche will do is have Everton organised quite easily. He'll just probably bop them in a 4-4-2 or a 4-4-1-1 and say, get them behind the ball. And then, Everton still have, Demarai Gray, who can, as you saw last season, can just pull something out the fire. He done it at City the other week. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is fit at the time of recording that. I can't honestly say 100% he will be Saturday. But
if this was Friday night, you still couldn't guarantee it.
Still couldn't guarantee it. And so there is that. And Everton do have some. I think for me, the biggest issue Everton have had, or Frank Lampard had, was there was just no structure. Whether he had players or not, there was too many gaps. And Kev will know this, like when he come in from when he was playing. Sometimes you just need someone to come in and redo the structure and go, look, cut all the gaps off. get men behind the ball. Don't let Arsenal play the way they want to. And then the crowd and the new manager and the players always run that little bit more for the first couple of games. We might have a bit of, bit of the rub of the green on the day, and Everton can win. But if both teams play well, I think Arsenal, with no one I don't think on this call would dispute Arsenal should win the game. But listen, football doesn't always go as you expect it to. And last season, Everton looked like they were down and out, and they beat Manchester United at home, and then they were down and out again, and they beat Chelsea at home from nowhere when it looked like we couldn't get a result anywhere. So while my heart does say Arsenal, while my heart does say Everton can get a result, my head...
I knew you were a secret gooner.
There you go. Love it. My head says Arsenal will win the game.
All right, 400 of you in live chat right now. Kiss like nut, but that like button for this great football conversation, a very honest one. Al, you've worked with a few managers, and, Baz just said something there in terms of no structure under Lampard and just some, gaps. And Sean Dyche, of course, we've seen how well organised he got that Burnley team and how long he kept them up in the top flight of football. Can a manager really have that kind of immediate impact in a week working with such a broken system? You've been behind the scenes to see it before. Is that something that could happen before the weekend?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we've seen it many times down the years. First of all, what I'd say is I love to see an Everton Arsenal fixture. I just think it's such a great fixture. And it's the two longest.
Definitely love to see it next year, Al.
Yeah.
Give anything to see it next year in the league, not just the cup. Yeah.
But the two longest serving, top flight teams.
Yeah.
And there's just something brilliant about it. I've loved it from like the 70s right through to to this weekend, and it's great to see. But look, of course there can be a bounce. Football is a strange game, and it's all about feelings, and it's all about confidence, and it's all about I think. For me, Arsenal's big concern on Saturday will be the crowd. It'll also be that they have to come and break Everton down, because I think what Sean Dyche will do immediately is make Everton much harder to beat. I don't think you'll have too many threats up front. I don't think we're going to score like we did in, I can't remember which game it was now, but we scored a few one of the last games, and. I don't think we'll trouble you that much, but I think we will make it very difficult to beat us, and I think that's where Arsenal have got to make the difference. And I think you've got the players to do it, of course. And as the guys say, on paper you should be winning the game very easily, but it doesn't work like that. Goodison, for any Gooners coming up to sit in that corner of the ground, Goodison will be a bear pit on Saturday, regardless of what's gone on, regardless of any other issues that people will want to, talk about and get involved with. The fans will be roaring when kickoff comes, and that's one of the biggest hurdles Arsenal will have to get over.
Ped, has it been roaring this season, or is it just going to be roaring because you've got a new manager coming in and it's like, here we go again with the hope, or is it just this fixture? I mean, it's always a great atmosphere, but it just, having watched from afar, it seems like your crowd's in it and out of it. I know Al says it will be buzzing this weekend, but a lot of our listeners have been asking what's the crowd like this season? Has it been like that?
It's been strange at times. It's not stopped backing the team as such. It's just, I'm sure you have had the same thing at the Emirates. It's that when the team are really having a go, and you can feel it having a go, regardless of how they're playing as such, the crowd will always be with them. The season started brilliantly again, sort of trying to emulate what happened last season, at the end of last season. But I think at a point that sort of just ran out, because I think the fans just didn't believe the players were truly having a go. When players are sort of faking it, and I think that's happened a few times. But then we tried to back them again, and contrary to what certain parts of the media or even our own club, our own board want to tell us, the fans will always be behind the team when they can be. And there's this character or culture has been come out this of Everton fans booing the team and all this kind of thing. Can you imagine some of the dross that we've had to watch in the last few years and just to walk away and go, oh, it's all right, no worries, you did that again next week. Kev can tell you when at Goodison Park, when you're trying hard for the team, doesn't matter how good you are, Goodison will always back you, because we just want to see effort. And I think that's been missing this season. It's funny today. We've been laughing about it today on our shows. There's pictures that Everton have put out of training. And there's players physically looking like they're being sick.
Yeah,
like they're looking like
tremendous.
But what does that tell you though? That tells you that they haven't been getting pushed hard enough. That fitness has been a secondary thing. And you know, as Kev said earlier, under Lampard we tried to play it out from the back and it didn't go anywhere. What tends to happen is 10 passes between the centre back, go back to Jordan Pickford, and he hoofs it back up the pitch. And it's like, what are we trying to do? Our fans don't like that kind of football. Our fans like intense football. They like up and down football, not long ball, but just when the time is right, get it wide, get crosses in. It's no coincidence that we love Kev, that we love Duncan Ferguson, that we loved Graham Sharp, that we love Bob Latchford, that we love proper centre forwards, that we love Dominic Calvert-Lewin when he's on it. Look at the goal he scored against Crystal Palace. If you can't tell me that is the most Everton goal you've ever seen in your life, a diving header to get you a win with 5 minutes to go, that's what Everton's all about. Forget about fancy dance like Wayne Rooney. We don't want them kind of fellas. You want proper centre forwards.
Imagine facing those two every week. I mean, geez.
No, unfortunately, they weren't quite at the peak when we had them together. I'm sure Kev won't mind me saying
the
that.
team wasn't. The team wasn't. If the team would have been better with them two or with crosses coming in, they would have scored low. Kev will tell you, as a centre forward, imagine being a centre forward in a team that passes the ball up between the centre backs and tries to build up. He wants it into his chest. He wants balls across the 6-yard box to attack. When he was at his best, Don Hutch sliding them through for him. Everton have moved away from that. The noise, we can generate noise. Pedals say the noise at the Merseyside derby in September was unbelievable. It was like ear crackling. So that's this season. Now, there's other times when we have to sit there and we're watching nonsense and we're seeing players doing what I call a false press. Kevin know this. Running make it look like you're running, but you're not really running to someone. I'm closing that defender down, but you're kind of jogging out to him. So no one can really go, you're not making that effort. We've seen too much of that. So if they've been throwing up today because they've had to do some running and made up, and I hope they're throwing up tomorrow as well, because they get well paid.
It can only help them. It can only being fit, first, but just being direct. We've got a few wingers at the club. We've got players who've got the ability to throw it in the box and hope Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets on the end of it. I mean, in the last few games, you're throwing the ball in the box and Dom might be in there on his own. What's he supposed to do? Kev will tell you the same thing. You need someone running near post. You need someone running back post. You need one of the centre midfielders to take a chance and gamble by running through. That's what Don Hutch used to do when Kev was in the team. They're creating space so that if the ball comes to you, you've got an opportunity. We have none of that. We are a timid team that I think Mikel Antonio said it when we played West Ham. He was like, second half, they had all the ball and didn't do anything with it. And we watch this over and over and over again. And they want us as fans to get them going again. It's not going to happen. We saved them last year, and I don't think that feeling's there this year because fans are far too angry with the situation the club finds it in to try and generate that again. I think we'll be there, but it's like it's over to you.
I think the one thing, and then I'll shut up, is that I watched Arsenal. I've watched a bit of Arsenal this season lately, and they're not direct, but they get the ball forward quickly through passing. But when they haven't got it, they work so hard. Yeah. And you can get behind that. And that's why you've seen players like Nketiah, lost Gabriel Jesus, and people are going, that's it. Now they'll fall up, they won't be as strong. Nketiah's come in and is fantastic. Saka's been better. Odegaard, brilliant. Players getting forward, Martinelli, attacking at pace. That's what you want to watch. You don't want to watch, if Arteta
Tottenham, you don't want to watch Tottenham.
No, well, there you go. But if you wouldn't want to watch Arsenal playing the ball around between Gabriel at the back and just knocking it in the midfield and going back and side to side and slow football. Arsenal have been at the best because they have attacked with that pace, and they have had Odegaard, who I think is fantastic, breaking into the penalty area. And for us, we've been starved of it.
Yeah, I love hearing the outsider insider perspective on the Arsenal and what you guys think of us. And I'll get you out on these two questions for both. Al, to you first. Your thoughts on Arsenal this season, and can we win the league? No, will we win the league? And your prediction for the game at the weekend.
Just before I answer that question, I just want to say that the difference, you've all seen the bus welcomes, at the end of last season and this season, and the difference from last season, it was a pure get behind the team. This time, there's a little bit of a warning from the Evertonians on the bus arrival: don't lose, and that's the difference. They've had enough of it,
Yeah.
But listen, Arsenal been fantastic. I think they totally deserve to be where they are. They played some fantastic football. I've got, I think, my limit of 3 in my fantasy league team. I've got Odegaard, I've got Partey, and I've got somebody I can't remember now. But listen, they've been a joy to watch, and I think what's been great about them is that, and we talk, the guys were talking then a minute. Everton have a fragility about them. They have a weakness about them. When they go one down, you just don't see them coming back. But when Arsenal have, and it's happened in recent games, they've got a hit. They've been hit, but they come back and they've got this strength. And that, for me, when I've watched teams down the years, and Kev will probably go along with this, you see when teams come back from a knock, that shows a real character of a team. I remember the 80s team of Everton, and doesn't matter whether we went a goal down, you just knew they were going to win the game. Yeah. And I get that sense with Arsenal. I don't see them ever panicking. I don't see them getting, out of their system, if you know what I mean. They stick to what they're doing, and they look organised. And do I think they win the league? I do, actually. I really do.
Stop. Head.
It's a big call.
We have to play City twice. I think
you have to beat City twice. If I'm honest, I think you have to
not once, twice.
No, I think you have to beat them twice. I think if you want to win the league, you have to beat City twice, because they've got all the experience in the world. And don't get me wrong. And you saw my tweet during the North London derby. I'd much rather watch Arsenal than Manchester City, because Arsenal just get the ball forward in a very quick fashion. We saw it the other week. So Brighton played very similar to what I think you play. It's like 3 passes and you're in. There's but it's nice football. There's no arson about though. It's just, this is the way we play, and it's, why do we need 12 passes? But Man City play in a way where we all know what Pep likes. We all know that it's a system where he draws people in, and he doesn't like to go away from that. If you're an outsider watching that can get a little bit boring. Watching it live. Man City are great on highlights. I couldn't watch them live though. Whereas I think Arsenal, there's a little bit more. There's a nice little mix to Arsenal. I'd like to think that Arteta got part of that from his time at Everton, and the other half of it when he was at Arsenal. Is that why take 27 passes when 4 can get you in the same place, and it doesn't look any worse though. It's not like long ball football. It's just quick, incisive football. And that's we haven't seen that football for ages. It's just honest to God, our centre backs must have
alien.
Their possession, our centre backs' possession stats are like Barcelona at their prime. Honestly, it's 99 passes to each other, 100%. They're up there with Xavi and Iniesta. It's unbelievable.
That's what they are. Maybe we're playing them.
But I do think you're gonna have to beat City twice, and almost maybe to convince yourselves as well. But the lucky thing for you is you've got to play Everton twice, so you've got that extra game in hand.
There you go.
Haven't you? So,
well, we've broken a few ducks this season. You bring up a good point. I said I'm not going to call it until that first game on February 15th. Whether or not we can truly win the league. Those 2 games are pivotal, and I do think that I was always saying win one, get a point from the other. Just don't lose one, because you never know what's coming up. We have to play Liverpool at Anfield, and a little bit like you, we just don't like going to Anfield no matter how good we are. So we'll see. But
we did in '89.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
memories.
We remember that.
What a club, eh? What a club! Winning the league at Anfield, winning the league twice at White Hart Lane, winning the league at Old Trafford, and then moaning about Jorginho right now.
Oh, you love it.
Can I just say, I must have been the only 10-year-old boy in the whole of Liverpool. I was on my own that night in the house. I don't know why. Mum and dad, terrible parents. But and literally when that goal went in, I swear to God, the front door opened and I ran up and down the length of my street screaming.
So no one liked you then either.
For Mickey Thomas, honest to God. But saying that, I'm the same person who put Manchester United posters in the window in 1996 when they were playing Liverpool in the cup final and found it really strange that my mum took them out. So not bitter at all.
Listen, that Friday night there was no better sight than Steve McMahon going
1
minute.
1 minute.
Michael Thomas.
That's edged in my.
What a night.
Is there any therapy?
Can we do a podcast on that?
Yeah.
Can we do like a rewatch?
Yeah.
Where we just sit down and watch the entire game together?
We'll just do Arsenal's greatest victories and we'll be
It would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Although I
Sit
still
down,
haven't
watch the 89 game.
Mate, I still haven't forgiven. I was reminded of this today because that little beaut Danny Murphy was on the radio. But I still haven't forgiven Arsenal for 2001 cup final, mate.
No.
Dominated the cup final for the most one-sided cup final ever, and they managed to lose it. Oh my God!
And the
But anyway,
that we
sorry.
Into. No, it's okay. I'll forgive you after. Yeah, I mean, does it give you any solace, guys, that Liverpool are shite this season?
No. Sadly, no. Normally,
do you know what though?
What's good? Sorry.
Go on.
What's good is like yesterday. I thought, I'll check how they got on, and I put it on a scene like 94th minute winner for Brighton. I was just like, yeah, that was all right, and just turned it on. That was quite nice.
It is weird though, because we share a studio with the Red Men TV, and to just listen to them, it's honest to God, it's just like those. You think the world is about to end. You think it's like asteroids were coming towards the planet. They're all moping around, and they're like, "Oh God, that means
you want to try being a Red." They said,
"Oh God,
you want to try being a Red."
Yeah.
Are
we ever going to sell any of these cloth jumpers? Oh, it's terrible, isn't it? And you're just like, what world do people live in?
They wouldn't last 2 minutes being an Evertonian. Put it that way.
No,
not a chance.
Well,
So
don't last
good.
2 minutes being a ginger Evertonian, my God. You know what I mean?
That is true, to be fair. That is
People
true.
wonder why I am the way I am.
Ted.
You've got a ginger manager just for
an
you.
Evertonian.
Just for you.
Yes. Well said, Baz. Well said.
And the last ginger manager didn't do too
Yes,
badly.
Al.
Exactly.
I was
Go on,
going to say, I've had the privilege of being on the pitch twice when you've won the league, standing next to Arsene Wenger. Because we played you. I think there was the one where Tony Adams scored that.
Would
goal.
you believe it? That one?
That's the one, yeah. And then there was another time when I was on the pitch. I was down there.
4-3.
Was it? Yeah, and we played you. And won
I was there at Highbury, 4-3.
And I'm hoping that I'll be down there on the third occasion when you win the league as well.
Oh, we like that,
I'd
Al.
love to see it.
We love that, Al. Right. Okay.
You, Al?
I know. Are you sure you're not an Arsenal fan, Al?
No,
he won't even. I'm not being funny. He won't even come on Toffee TV. This fella, and yet he comes on here.
Right, now we know.
Some brown envelopes have been exchanged here.
Don't
tell him, Big Al.
It's a Mudrick kind of deal. What can I say? It's a bit of a Mudrick kind of
He's
deal.
gone full Mudrick.
I hope you get Jorginho now. Just like that.
That's it, Myers. It's your fault.
No, I'm gonna come out. Arsenal are my second team.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
Yeah,
this is amazing.
You've said it.
And do you know why? Charlie George. That's all I'm
we
saying.
love Charlie.
Okay.
Not old enough for that, Al. Sorry.
Well, there you go. I ran in. I was the only, as you know, probably the only blue in a house of 6 lads and 2 girls, and my dad, all Reds. And I ran in 1971, was it? 71,
That's correct. The double winning year.
It was 71.
And I ran in and did the Charlie George celebration in front of them all. Honestly,
lovely.
I was so happy, But yeah, that's when it goes back. That's when it starts for me.
It starts there, 89. We love it. We love it.
We love it. Well, we love you guys as well, and thanks so much for coming
You
on the
love
show.
us more, Saturday. Yeah.
Well,
I
do hope so. I mean, it is possible
To be fair,
to fall
though,
in love with you guys
Goodison
more.
is a terrible place to go because you just can't find anywhere to park.
No. And the Wi-Fi signal's terrible, so
It's
you
terrible.
won't get a signal.
Absolutely you won't get Wi-Fi.
No.
So
Don't get
that's
any
that as
fi.
well.
1G it is at Goodison.
1G.
Low-fi it is. Low-fi. It's called an
Low-fi, yeah.
Really is
See, Knuckle,
budgetary times.
That stand that
Listen,
you're
we
in.
want to talk about Jorginho. Shut up.
Oh,
Sorry,
go on
Soph.
then.
Go on.
Would you like him? Take him so we can avoid
Has he
getting him.
got 2 legs?
Yeah.
Can he
Listen,
move
I don't know
around?
why they're
Can
having
Neil
an.
take him?
I'll take a body right now. I'll take a World Cup winning, or was it a Euro winning body?
Euro winning.
Euro, isn't he?
Champions
Euro
League winning
winning.
body.
And if you
Yeah.
get penalties, he's brilliant at penalties.
Yeah, I
Experience.
mean, that little skip that he does
Yeah.
is a little bit
He's experienced
Fernandez.
as well.
Experience. And that's
Yeah.
sometimes that's all you need at this time of the year. Someone to come in and just carry it on forward, move it forward. Don't waste money on when you know, Casido's obviously going to come in the summer. So get someone to see you through.
There you go, guys. Getting reassured from the Toffee TV guys here.
Yeah.
And this is where you can find them. They're brilliant. And as you can see, very fair in their discussions. Go give them a follow. And this is Baz's handle. 10-4, roger that. And Peds as
Housewives'
well.
favourite. The housewives' favourite, Baz.
Yeah, all right.
Everywhere we go, honestly, just middle-aged women just flock to him. Normally with their husbands as well. It's a very strange thing. Never seen the likes of it.
Someone actually
is normally
posted
with
that
the
in the
husband.
chat. Someone posted that in the chat, and I wasn't sure if I should put it up, if there's a hidden story behind it. But now you've clarified.
There is. We went to Germany. And we were in Dusseldorf, and a couple tried to take him home with them. I swear to God, it happened. and then a gay couple came up to him, and they tried to take him over as well. And I was just, what am I? Spare party here.
I think he just thought I might make them a nice cup of tea or something. I don't know. Maybe that's what it was.
And I've got to go on this show now.
Yeah.
Listen, you're an Arsenal fan. Shut up.
Alan, that's why we want to take you to Germany.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a lot. There's a few Toffees listening tonight, and it was Basic Trig who mentioned that.
Yeah, he's fond of that line, yeah.
And then we have our designer too, No Laguna, who's offering, if you guys would like an 89 shirt, we can make that happen for you. How about that?
We'll hang that up behind us just to get everyone off.
Wind them up.
And you can
great moments.
You can also find Alan here, Alan Myers Media. He is a very special human being and also an amazing football person.
He's got no face, and he's an Arsenal fan. There you go.
Our listeners are loving that. They're calling him the Invisible Man, but we love the Invisible Man, so they're all about it.
The man of mystery.
Yeah, man of mystery. International man of mystery. Austin Powers.
Time enough.
Alan Myers, former milk tray man.
He is actually, to be fair.
Former.
Still is. Yeah, well, we don't know because you're invisible.
Hilarious. Well, look, will you guys promise to come back at the end of the season for another football chat? Actually,
maybe the last time. Maybe the last time.
We'll stick a pin in that one, maybe. We'll stick a pin in that one.
Tell you what, we started talking about chocolate and we've ended talking about chocolate.
There you go.
That's not
there
so bad.
There you go. Oh, man. Good stuff. Yeah. You know, I've been talking football with Baz and Ped for, I don't know, it was 10 years ago before Toffee TV started, Kev, and they were doing local radio. I think at one, and it was, used to send them vignettes of Landon Donovan from LA Galaxy days. So these guys have been hugely supportive from day one. I love them to pieces. Thanks for coming on. And Alan, every single time we ask him to come on, does, and is a true gentleman.
Top guys,
game.
all of you.
All of them.
All
so
of
we love you. You guys take
care. I look
care.
forward to getting on Toffee TV very soon, guys.
Do it.
Nice one, Kev.
Cheers,
all right.
Thanks, Soph. Take care.
You're welcome. Bye, guys. Take care. Bye. Bye. Awesome. Thanks. Thanks to those guys for popping in. Brilliant stuff from them. And it remains myself and Super Kev. Here we are, Super Kev. Absolutely, the listeners absolutely loved it. Quality guys, just brilliant stuff. Real honest.
You know what, Soph? The what's going on at Everton is hard to take, but they do take it in their stride. They're good. They love a laugh, the guys, and they're still hurting. That's for sure, because these guys are passionate Evertonians, and. Listen, there's enough points to play for. I think Sean Dyche will get it right. But I don't think he'll get it right on Saturday.
Okay, well, that's good. Absolutely. And they're really great. They're so funny. They're good. Right. So I've asked you guys to wait. And of course, it's worth the wait. We've got Super Kev here. Kev, everything was going quite smoothly for the Arsenal in this transfer window. You have said very much so for weeks now that we have to strengthen, and you wanted to bring in 3 players. Trossard has had an immediate impact. I thought he's done great since he's been here. And, the midfield position, Caicedo, everyone wants cover for Thomas Partey. They want a 6, they want an X, they want a Y. Jorginho has been highlighted by David Ornstein as a potential player we're looking at. Talk to me, Kev.
Someone with experience who could sit in that midfield if Thomas Partey's not there, who can play between the lines, pass it with authority, and have that experience to be able to manage a game in the center of the pitch. It's not easy. We've seen Sambi Lokonga struggled to do that.
Oh, he was awful, Kev.
No, but he struggled to do that. So when listen, we want to give him every chance, but the position we're in, Sophie, we can't afford him learning on the job because it's going to cost us. So you've got to get somebody in who can do that job. And Jorginho can do the job. He can do the job in there. He's not a Thomas Partey, no. And is he somebody who's going to do what Thomas Partey does? No, maybe not. But do you know what he can do? He can sit in that at the base of the midfield if Thomas Partey's not there. And he can play with authority.
So what is it? I'm going to allow you to explain this all because I have my own thoughts. But what do you say to Arsenal fans who are saying, please don't try and justify this? This isn't the type of signing that we need. And about pace, they feel like he's such a snail that the way we play and have been playing, Kev, that he doesn't suit our style of play. Now, some people also say, well, maybe he does because he can just sit. Talk me through that a little bit.
Well, I can't talk to you about how these other people talk because the same was said about Odegaard. Same was said about many of the players. They can't do this. They can't do that. We don't need this one. Ramsdale's not good enough. I've heard it all before, Soph. They don't know what they're talking about, half of them. They don't know what they're talking about. And that's the reason why they're not football managers, is because they don't know how to pick players. They don't know what to look for. Because at the end of the day, if Arsenal are the ones who are keeping possession, you've got to have a player who is good user of the ball in that pivot position. You could have someone who could run about all day, but Sambi Lokonga could run about all day, but if his positional sense is all wrong, it doesn't matter. You're going to get found out.
Ev, what do you say to okay, so to me, I feel like one of the things that Arsenal fans in particular like this, we're acting like a small club. Chelsea are rubbing their hands. Ed do get out, right? We'll get to all of that. But I mean, it's so I'll jump in a second.
Yeah, but you know what, Soph? This is the truth of the matter. For all the good that Arsenal have done, how all of a sudden does it all come crumbling down, getting linked to a player who is going to be a squad player? I don't get it. I don't get it. I think he's not going to be a starter. He's going to be a squad player.
Right.
So would you rather Lokonga or Jorginho?
I think that's how fans have to start looking at this. They can't be looking at this like he's a long-term solution. He's going to be the future of our midfield.
No,
he's going to start over parts. Correct.
We want to buy Caicedo. If we can't get the Caicedo job done, what do you have to do after that? You have to try and get somebody in who can do a job in there. Simple as that. Because, it scared the life out of him, Thomas Partey, hurting his rib at City. Look at the drop-off second half. Enough.
Oh, yeah. It was huge. It was, and you could see the difference and what the difference was, regardless of the fact that we changed 6 players. When he went off, we were a totally different
team.
Disorganized team. And Sambi's positioning, Kev, this is what I want to get stuck into a little bit here too, because everyone's been moaning. Like, would you really have Sambi Lokonga versus a Jorginho? Again, Kevin and I are not saying Jorginho is the answer. And also, let's just like stop for a second. The world is a different place. You know, Bowley is going out and spending $500 million, right? What he's doing is, in my opinion, unethical. And something has to be done about this, because Chelsea are run differently. He came in and he was a project manager. Do you think Graham Potter's going to be the manager managing all these players? Not a chance, Kev. Not a chance. He's not surviving this. They're buying all these players because I think they've already got his, just my humble opinion, yes, earmarked, right? So I don't understand when we are top of the league and we're 5 points clear, all right, and we've got a game in hand. And, you know, we've got a really good squad. Touch wood so far. Yes, of course, we all know beyond our starting 11. But look what our 6 changes did to a very strong Manchester City side away from home. Maybe we are a little bit different this season, people. Maybe we are better organized. Maybe we've got mental strength. Maybe we've got all of those things. What is wrong with having an experienced player come into the side, and if he's asked to come in and play 2 or 3 games, he does a job and we move on? What is this? And Caicedo, all of a sudden everyone's a connoisseur on Caicedo? Oh, come on, please. Pull the other one. It plays Jingle Bells. Enough. The club have shown you that they know what they're doing in the transfer market, Kev.
So again, Sophie, that's why when fans start losing and going melting down about these things, pump the brakes, put the brakes on.
And this whole
leave
thing,
it to the people who know what they're doing.
What is this? We need to act like a big club. What is that? We are a big club.
But Sophie, again, that's something that I don't know what that means, because we are a big club. We're top of the league. We're 5 points clear with a game in hand. And I can guarantee you, a lot of the players who were bought in, all of these people were saying, that's not how a big club acts, yet we're here.
It's incredible to me. You know what this is about, Kev? This is about Willian. This is about previous signings, okay? And having someone just wrote PTSD in the chat. This is what it's about. But not everyone. Okay, Willian didn't like North London. He really likes West London. You're seeing that this year. There's something about him crossing over, Kev. Just didn't work out, right? Yeah. Jorginho's a footballer. If we can make that happen, great. To help us over the line. Once again, he's not the future. Do you want the club being held to ransom and paying 100 million for Mudryk, who could go on and be sensational and probably will, right? But that's just not our jam. We've never been those. But we have gone in to try and make those things happen. Caicedo, I'm not being funny, Kev. If Mudryk is that money and Caicedo's this money, how much is Saka worth? How much is Odegaard worth? How much is Ben White worth? How much is Martinelli worth? How much is even Eddie and Nketiah worth? Look at what the club have done. The market value of our side, the equity in this team is insane, and it has risen. And they've done a good job identifying those players. Look, you know me. I've criticized a lot in the first 18 months. But I'm not going to sit here and criticize the club because, you know, one transfer window.
Get an experienced player in.
I mean, Trossard was a great buy, right? If we die on our Thomas Partey sword, so be it. Sophie, now everyone's expecting us to win the league, and if we don't, Kev, I can't deal with it.
Sophie, but here's the thing. Those same people who are criticizing, if we didn't bring anybody in, they would say, why didn't we get somebody in who's experienced to sit at the base of See, so you cannot win.
It's like being at a coffee, having a coffee with my Greek aunties, right, Kev? They see you and they say, "Oh my goodness, you're too skinny. Why you don't eat? I make you food." You come back 2 weeks later, "Oh my goodness, you got on fat.
You put
You
weight
shouldn't
on.
eat so." You can't win with crazy.
You can't win. So again, Edu, Mikel Arteta, all the guys in the background, they have done the right things to get us where we are. I trust in them. I do. I trust in them.
And Kev, are you bringing anyone back? There, some fans screaming, "Bring back Patino, bring back Balogun." You've been very clear about Balogun. I mean, what a performance from him the other night against PSG. But you're not bringing anyone back from their loan deal, are you, Kev?
Nope. Because at the end of the day, again, Patino, what experience he's had half a season in the Championship. Half a season, and we're going for a title in the you need experience in that position, especially positional sense, because you could say what you want about Jorginho, everybody, whether you agree with it or not. One thing you cannot say is that he hasn't been a winner, which he has, and he knows his way around the midfield. That's why they will be looking at him if they can't get Caicedo.
And of course, Kev, just to reiterate, you would never have chosen Jorginho in this transfer window, would you? But at this stage, a day before the end, right? Do you think the club?
And by the way, Elliot, if Chelsea get Caicedo, Edu, how is he finished? How? Chelsea have proven they are happy to pay over the odds.
And who says we're not getting Caicedo still? Transfer window does not close yet.
And I'll be on Sky tomorrow, 6 till 8.
Nice,
so hopefully
Super Kev.
Arsenal can get the job done in that couple of hours.
Kev, if we don't bring in a midfielder, have we failed in this window? In your opinion, currently, are we failing?
No, we haven't failed. We have not failed. No, because we've brought 2 players in. But if we don't bring a midfielder in, then we haven't plugged all our gaps.
Wow, the hate for Jorginho is real. It is legit. I cannot keep up with all of you and your comments on him.
Yeah,
Stepanov's was better than nothing.
Bring it on. And Gunnar Ross, you should know better. Me and you have swapped plenty of stuff about players, and it's going to go pear-shaped. And look at us now. So you should keep quiet, Gunnar Ross.
What about Conor Gallagher?
No, he's not experienced. Again, you need experience.
But Caicedo's not experienced, and we were willing to spend like 70 million on him, Super Kev.
But Sophie, it seems to Mikel Arteta and Edu that he has got the positional sense to play that position. That's the difference. And how do they know? Because he's doing it in the Premier League.
Let me ask you this. Is there a scenario where, do you remember a little while ago I pitched to you if there's an injury to Thomas Partey or in the midfield, Benjamin White can step in because he's played in that role in previous clubs, or Zinchenko can step in maybe for Xhaka, right? Do we have anyone at the club currently, Kev, if nothing happens? What can you see being a solution, God forbid, should there be an injury?
The Polish lad, Kiwior, he can play holding midfield.
Yeah, he can actually, yeah.
He's big, he's imposing, he's got a good left foot, and he could pass through the lines. But I just think Arsenal, obviously he's not played a game yet. So to then start thinking we're going to rely on him when really you need somebody experienced in that position because he's still a young man, not played a game in the Premier League. So again, this is the most important. This is the most important transfer now, isn't it? It's really important because we do El Neni. You know, and here's the funny thing. So many people were saying, "Oh, we need cover. We need cover," even when El Neni was fit. Now we're trying to get some cover. People are moaning about the cover. You can't win.
What about Onana? Is that is that a possibility to go in for someone like him? I just don't think with this particular regime, Kev, are the ones that will be like, oh, we'll just go get him. We're just not that.
Not going to go. Oh yeah, we get him. Tons of things. Chelsea have put a bid in, etc. He's not leaving. So that's it. Good player.
Yeah.
Well, look, player,
I feel, Kev. I think that the end of this transfer window this year, I'm not saying it's going to be, well, maybe a Robinho. Remember that shocking last minute transfer? I think it's going to be like the end of an M. Night Shyamalan movie, you know, like The Sixth Sense or one of these. There's a twist. There's going to be a major twist, Kev. A major twist. That's what I see. Sophstradamus predicts a major twist. I made Kev freeze in time. What do you think about them apples?
I'm back. I'm back.
Oh, you're back. So I was saying, Kev, that I see a major twist. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, no worries. Just talking to the assistant producer here at the Highbury Squad, getting some work done on the garage, Kev. So, you know, I'm on deck for the garage, man. That's what I'm doing. But I see a twist, Kev. A twist for the Arsenal. What do you think?
A surprise.
Yeah.
You see a surprise? Well, if it's a big surprise, it would be welcome for the Gooners. Listen, at the end of the day, Soph, Arsenal know they need to strengthen. Arsenal have to go for it. If you said you can get to the end of the window, 5 points clear at the top, game in hand over City, and then you can make a significant signing right at the death to let people go, whoa. Would you take it? I think everybody would take it.
Yeah, don't panic, Gooners. Don't panic yet. That's all I'm saying. Gooner us. Not that kind of a surprise. And there's no Rice. No Rice. Not happening now. But isn't it good that we're talking about, you know, heirs to the Partey and Xhaka throne, preparing for the future? Come on. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, Kev.
So, do you know what I would like? I would like Arsenal to go and do the business. If you want Casado, go and get him. And I know that just sounds flippant, but it's not flippant. What do you want for him? Bloom, Mr. Bloom? You want X? You want X? Get it done. Because a player like this can be a mainstay in our squad for the next... Again, we're talking about Saka, Martinelli, Saliba. We're talking about Ødegaard. We're talking about these players being in and around the first team and being a significant part of our squad for the next 8 to 10 years. So if you paid 80 million for him, say, yeah, it's a lot of money. But if you're looking at him being around for 8 years, it's 10 million a year.
Yeah, it's nothing.
You know, it's in the end, it becomes cheap because you've signed him so young. But we'll see. Who knows what? If they're digging their heels in, they're saying he's not for sale. So we'll see.
We'll see. We'll definitely see. And this has been a good one. 470 of you in live chat. Please hit the like button. How many likes do we have? Chief Like Officer Tammy and Suraj usually steps in and helps us with that. And Gunnar Russ, when he's in the house, also does.
It'd be disappointing. Watch it be disappointing.
Look, Don Juan, we're not saying we want him. He's the last player I want at the club. But if push comes to shove and we need a body, a potential body to maybe come in and play 2 or 3 games at best, I'll take it. When you're at war and you're in the trenches and they're firing at you and one's keeling over, the other's keeling over, you need more men. Now, is every man an expert shot with a rifle? Do they know how to throw a grenade? Some are better than others, but they're a body. And sometimes that body can get in front of another body and save the other body. Mourinho, do you remember? No, that was respect. He was trying to calm everyone down in the... I don't know what to say. I'm out. Kev, what else do you want to tell the troops?
I don't want to tell them nothing. Listen, we'll wait and find out tomorrow. That's it. Big game coming up at the weekend. Time to get back on the horse, get winning again. This is what it's about. Obviously, in the league, we haven't lost in a while. So we got to keep that going.
Yeah.
We'll take that.
Take it. Come on. All right. All of our chief like officers and the assistants have told us, Kev, we've got 223 likes. Make sure you tell your friends about the Highbury Squad. We missed you. Maybe not as much, really, with the Jorginho abuse. I'm just saying. We're going to be back live this week, the show. I'll be back tomorrow. Kev's busy working with Sky tomorrow, but I promise you I will be here and I will be talking transfers with you. Come in, we'll have a little chat. We'll be on air for a little bit and just do a thing. And maybe I'll have some really good friends join me as well. Don't have a meltdown. Don't point the finger at the club that you have been celebrating all season. Please, let's stick together. And let's just believe, right, that we're on a journey and that journey doesn't turn overnight. Nobody was expecting us to be challenging for the Premier League this season. And here we are. So I just want to, I know we got to go for it. We're in a position to win it. But this group keep proving everyone wrong over and over again. And all I ask for on my end as a fan is a little bit patient, because you know what I've learned a lot over the last 3 years is that kind of works. And that's all I have to say. Kev, take us out.
Listen, Gooders, the team have to keep proving you lot wrong as well, because you think you know it all. You think you know transfers, etc. You don't. Let's be brutally honest. The way Mikel Arteta and Edu have put together these bunch of players has been nothing short of remarkable. Let's be honest. And a lot of you would. Could you imagine, Sophie? You remember we said at the start of the season, now Mikel Arteta is going to be judged because it's his team now. Do you imagine if we would have been performing like Chelsea, what would everyone would be saying? But yet, look where we are. Look how we've been performing. So consistent. And yeah, it's only half a season, but there's nothing to say that we're not going to keep going. And let's be honest about that. So let's cut their manager and Edu and stuff some slack. Cut them some slack. Do you think they don't know what they're doing? You see? You tell them. There you go. You tell them as well. Leave them alone. Let them get on with it, squaddy. We love you.
Gotta go.
Morning and at ease, doggies and squaddies.
The garage doorman's here. I gotta go.
Come on.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.